Welcome back to the All Things Everything podcast presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode 23. So we have a great guest today. We have an amazing interview coming up. But before we get into that, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what happened to us this past weekend and what we're looking forward to doing this upcoming weekend. So we went to Sinton, Texas for an IBCA competition, and we tried our hand. We tried to win that thing. We didn't get it done. We also didn't do bad either.
Yeah, we got a 14th place chicken.
Mm-hmm.
We got a 6th place ribs.
Yes.
And a 5th place brisket.
For a 7th overall.
Which
is, like I said, it's not exactly where we wanted to fall, but I'm not too upset about it.
Yeah, for a small comp with some good teams out there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And, I disagreed with our placings on pretty much every meat. I thought the brisket was excellent. I thought the ribs were excellent. And I thought the chicken was excellent. One of the things about the chicken, though, we had a little bit of a disagreement on it. And we got some feedback from some other people. And there was a little bit of a disagreement on it. We had a couple people say one thing that sided towards what you said, something that's, sided towards what I said. And it makes for a difficult headspace whenever you're competing, because then for me, maybe I'll get a little bit low or I'll get a little bit high depending on the feedback I get. So I thought the chicken was really, really good. My dad thought it was really good and really tender. You thought it needed to be a little bit more tender. Raul thought it needed to be a little bit more tender. And I don't even really remember what Mario said about it, to be honest.
I don't know. I thought your dad had said that that he thought it could have been more tender.
So he originally said that, and then when I came back out, he's like, "No, I kept eating it." He's like, "I don't think it needed to be more tender. I thought it was really good."
Mm-hmm.
But either way, we had the disagreement, right? I thought it was really good. I thought the flavor was exceptional, which I think we actually agreed on the flavor.
I thought it was tender. I just thought it could have maybe gone a little bit longer. I thought it was good enough as it was.
Sure.
But I also think it could have also benefited a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have done well either way, but that's the hard part about when you give a comment.
Yeah.
And it's such a short spacing when it comes to, judging 10, 9, 8, 7.
Sure.
Right? So when you think about those 4 numbers, there's you're trying to fit such a wide variety of opinions about food into 4 numbers, right?
It's tough.
So I thought it could have been a 10 or a 9, but when you give an opinion like that, it makes you feel like, oh man, this chicken's going to get an 8 or a 7 because it wasn't cooked enough, which I didn't
And then
think
it's
was
a
the
mental
case.
thing at that point for me.
Right.
It's like, man, I was telling you, I almost don't want the opinions anymore. I don't want to share my food with people anymore, because here's what I think. During the moment that we're actually getting that chicken ready to put into the box and go, yeah, let's try it. Let's give each other feedback, me and you. But once it's gone, the feedback from everybody else, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but you can study those scores and you can find out if your texture was good or bad. You know what I mean?
And that's going to give you more of an idea than everybody else's opinion.
100%. Because like I've said millions of times, barbecue is subjective. I could have thought it was perfect and you could have thought it wasn't. We literally did that this past weekend, and there's nothing wrong with that. Take a look at the scores, and that's going to be your telltale. You do need to taste it. You do need to formulate opinions between me and you. But then we need to say, well, you thought it was it needed to go a little bit more, but man, we got all 10s on texture, so maybe not.
Right.
Or I thought it was perfect and we got all 7s on texture, so I was wrong. But you have to really look at those scores. And you have to really figure out where you need to get better, right? But we're going to continue to work on chicken. And now, I don't know what it was about that day. You and I talked about it, and we're like, hey, all that's on our mind is chicken. We are going to get it down. 100%. We're going to. I've never been more confident that we're going to get this down, because we're going to put in the work to make sure that we're putting out a good bird. And we are on a mission. We are absolutely on a mission. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the fact that, again, we are going to have a great guest. So I say we get right into our interview and let's let that roll. Well, first and foremost, we want to thank you for being here, man. Just in case anybody's living under a rock, and just in case maybe this is the first time you're ever watching our podcast, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the people know, who are you?
Hey guys, my name is Fred Robles, owner of Rio Valley Meat Barbecue, or pitmaster, or manager, or janitor, whatever you want to call me. But yeah, I'm Fred from Westlaco, Texas.
Nice. Thank you, Fred, for being on the podcast today. I've been trying to get this going for a little bit. We're both pretty busy. You probably more than us, but thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know you just got home not long ago, so appreciate you, man.
hmm
So, man, we just wanted to kind of jump right in, and everybody who knows you knows that a few years back you had a full-time KCBS run. You started it doing IBCAs, and now you are the president of the newest sanctioning body in Texas, and it's called CBA, Champions Barbecue Alliance, which I absolutely love competing in CBA. I wanted to hear from you, being the newest sanctioning body in Texas, what do you think that that's done for barbecue in Texas? Personally, I really love that there's multiple options here, and I just want to know, what do you think that is done for Texas barbecue?
I think our whole goal leading up to us starting a sanctioning body was to give people options. You mentioned it right now. You like having multiple. And that's what we are, man. We're just another option. We wanted to create something to um, better prepare cooks for some of these bigger, more nationwide contests, right? Like the Jack and the American Royal. And historically in Texas, pork was never one of those meats that was cooked in Texas, right? It was always chicken, ribs, and brisket. So we thought introducing pork would be a good way to kind of bridge the gap of where Texas barbecue was and where the rest of the nation was. So that was one of the things that we wanted to introduce into Texas was, some sanctioning bodies did do it every now and then, but it was more of an ancillary, not one of the main meats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're doing four meats in CBA. We wanted to bring something fresh, something new, something that would give cooks uh, an idea of where they ended up at the contest, right? Historically, before, if you weren't in the top 10, you didn't know if you were 11th or you were 300th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was never that information given out. Since we started CBA, we are a cumulative point scoring system, which tracks your scores in every protein, whether you're first or last.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you an idea of, hey man, I finished 15th, but man, I was right there. I was 2 points off from being in the top 10. Or, it gives you a little bit of glimmer of hope, a little bit of man, if I'm there right now, if I keep practicing, if I keep swinging, if I keep doing the things that I need to do, man, I can be up there with all these guys who are winning constantly, right? So we wanted to bring that perspective into things. And it's the whole technology behind everything that we do as well. We do everything on smartphones in the judging area. So all our taste judges, they're not using a pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually scoring on smartphones, on devices, which they're pushing a button. It goes into our server. Our computer calculates the scores and it prints out scores at the end of the day. It's if you've never been in our judging area, I invite you guys to go and check that out. It's a really neat system to where as a cook, right? I wanted to take out as much of the human error element out of it, right? Whether an event rep made a tabulated mistake, they pushed a six instead of a nine. There's always some sort of human error. We wanted to eliminate or take as much of it out of the equation as we could, and that's just me being a cook and wanting the fairest system out there possible, right? Any system is going to get you results. Any system is going to get you a winner and a loser at any contest.
Sure.
But is it the fairest and best possible system that we can put out there? So there's a lot of things, and we could probably spend hours here talking about it. But
For sure.
that was the gist of it, and trying to bring something different and new to Texas, and something to energize the barbecue world, and raise up new cooks, bring up new cooks through the system. Because if we don't try to bring in new uh, teams, new cooks, the sport's gonna die, and we don't. None of us want that, right?
For sure.
I have my own line of rubs. You have your line of rubs, and so we want to sell those, right, to somebody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so we need to create more teams coming into the system, and uh, it's just a trickle down effect in the long run, to seasoned guys, to pit builders, to meat market guys, to you name it. So yeah, I mean, in the gist of it, that's kind of where we're at, and what we wanted to do with CBA. And we have a great group of folks that have helped us and are still helping us through this, and we're still learning.
Hmm.
We're still new. We're into our third year right now, so very new organization still.
For sure. Well, for me, looking from the outside in, I think everything that you said has absolutely been nailed by CBA, because one of the things for us when we first got into this was we started doing IBCAs only, didn't even know that CBA was a thing. And this was a year ago today, pretty much. We started competing, and we were doing IBCA, and then we saw a CBA. It was the KNR shootout, and we saw the trophies that they had, and we wanted one so bad that I canceled everything else, and I told my wife, we have to go try. At that point, we were cooking okay, but I didn't know if we were good enough to go win a trophy. And that very first CBA event we went to, my wife and I talked about it on the way home. We're like, man, this felt different. And at first, we didn't know if we liked it. I'm going to be honest with you. And then I think we went to another one and another one. We're like, no, I think the reason it's different is because we love this. It did feel like, man, Willie was up there giving everybody a hug when they got an award. And, when Kevin won the GC, everybody was genuinely excited for him. We ended up actually getting one of the trophies. We got the first place rib there, and it was just game over from there. I think we did only CBAs the rest of the year. And
Nice.
like you said, it really gave us the feeling like, man, we can hang with these bigger cooks, because I had heard of all of you guys. I didn't know you were cooking CBAs. I didn't know that was really, a thing. You get to know a little bit more about it, and you find out like, hey, Bill Purvis is out there. Phil Breeden's out there. These guys are out here. I want to go cook next to them. And now, man, I'm friends with a lot of these guys, So
Absolutely.
CBA absolutely gave us the opportunity to get out there and learn a lot about competition barbecue and have a lot of fun doing it, which is something that I'm ever grateful for. Man, some of my best friends now are people that I met in CBAs. You can ask my wife. I talk to them on the phone all the time. She's probably like, man, get off the phone already, But I do love what you said about bringing up the newer cooks and stuff like that as well, because I feel like that's kind of where we're at, but we've been really embraced by a lot of people. And like you said, we have products. My goal has always been with our YouTube channel to put light on competition barbecue and let people see what we're doing, how much fun we're having, how much it sucks to lose, everything, And so, like I said, CBA brought a lot of that out for us. And so far, 3 years in, doing an amazing job.
I was shocked to learn that CBA was such a new organization, because my first take when we went to our first CBA was, man, this feels like they know what they're doing. And that's not to dog on any other sanctioning body, but it just kind of like you said, you're trying to take out as much of that human error. When we got the packets, it's got all the numbers and everything. We just kind of thought to ourselves, you even have the comments. You have some judges that will leave the comments. So to me, it seemed like something that felt like it's been running like a well-oiled machine for a long time. So I think you guys are doing something very successful, and I was shocked to just learn it was so new. But do you think CBA is something that you want to stay in Texas, or is this something that you guys want to branch out into other states?
Well, we definitely want to see it grow. I think we've definitely taken a measured approach or a calculated approach to our growth, right? We don't want to overextend ourselves and then have to backtrack. And so right now we've been growing incrementally. This past year, we were actually um, the largest sanctioning body in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We had the most events out of any sanctioning body in Texas, and we look to expand on that, right? We want to get outside of the state, have more contests around the nation, but at the same time, we want to be able to make sure that we have a grasp on things, right?
Hmm.
We don't want to get out there and stumble and fall and fail, right? So we want to be able to make grow at a calculated pace. But yes, the goal is absolutely to take this as far as we can take it, and I feel we are really close to branching out even further. Um, like I said, we're 3 years young, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we're still learning some things that can better our cooks, can better our promoters, can better our system. And then of course we also need people helping us out there in all these areas, right? We need hands and feet on the ground, and that's always a challenge to um, have the proper training and the proper resources for all these people as well. So yeah, so to answer your question, yes, we do want to grow, and that is part of our goal and our focus.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, just in case people are new, they don't know if they want to get into competition barbecue. Let's talk about a little bit of the fun that you can have at CBA. And my favorite thing, believe it or not, is obviously probably you hear this a lot. It's the walk up song, man. It is
Hmm.
exhilarating. It is
Yep.
So if you've never had your song play for a first place brisket or a GC, that is something I'll tell you. It gives me chills almost thinking about it. You know, and
Absolutely.
and I wanted to know, do you remember where this idea came from? And when you did, or whoever thought of this idea, did you think it was going to be as loved as it is? Because it's funny, right? Like Kevin Hernandez is one of my really good friends now, and his song is "Money, Money, Money, Money," and
Uh-huh.
I will listen to his song because like I hear it all the time, or I'll listen to Phil's Co Wetzel songs in the truck now. Like we
Mm,
have become fans of that because of Phil, literally. And Kevin will
right.
send me screenshots every once in a while. He's listening to my song, and it's just such a
Even
cool.
the
Yeah,
kids listen.
my kids they're like,
Hmm.
"Mom, what is Smoking and Toasting's song? You know,
They'll sing them at the
Caesar's
house.
song," and
Yeah.
they'll
Uh-huh.
be singing here at the house. It truly has that feeling, man. It's like I can't explain it. You just have to feel it. But I wanted to know, where did it start, if you remember, and did you think it was going to be as loved as it is?
I think it started early on in our, when we were kind of brainstorming and our board got together and some of our team got together and, how can we make this again fun and energetic and
Yeah,
have cooks being enthusiastic, not to dog on any sanctioning bodies, but, sometimes reading ticket numbers isn't the funnest thing, right? You're there sitting looking at your ticket number and it can get pretty boring, especially now going from CBA and going to a different organization's
mm-hmm.
awards contest is night and day. But yeah, it started really early on, and so we've been. I want to say Robert Rocha is one of the. I think he's the one who brought it up initially,
Mm-hmm.
and don't quote me on that, but I want to say he's the one who brought it up and said, "Hey, the whole." If you, I don't know if you guys have ever been to San Antonio Rodeo, but San Antonio Rodeo usually plays music while you're trying to make your way through the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't ask you to pick your own song, but they just play music, and it made the awards ceremony a lot more lively, a lot more energetic. So
Sure.
I think that's kind of the spin we took off of that, and we just took it a little further in letting each individual team pick their own song, right? Because what better than playing your song?
For sure.
You pick your own song, and yeah, and it was quite a challenge actually to get it going on our part because one, we have to have a PA system or a speaker system, and we have to have somebody manning,
The
whether it
music.
be yeah, somebody whether on their phone or an iPad or what have you, somebody has to put it on a list. Now we have it to when you register, you tell them your team name. At the end, once we print results, we actually have a whole nother report that we can print that'll attach all the songs to those teams in order. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot easier now with technology. Everything's a lot easier, right? So, but initially it was a challenge just trying to get our event reps. Some were not as technology driven as others, and some had issues with it. But
Yeah.
man, it's gotten to the point now where if we don't have it our awards, somebody's complaining, right?
Oh
They
yeah.
they all want to hear it for sure.
I wouldn't complain about a GC, but if I got the GC without my song, it would feel a little bit like, man, really, really.
Got
But
cheated.
Missed
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah.
missed opportunity.
Absolutely.
Man, so we spent some time talking about CBA, which again we love competing in CBA, and we think you guys have done an amazing job with it. I'm excited to continue to see the growth, and man, one of the coolest things that I saw was showing up to that banquet. Realistically, 100%, the reason I went is because Kevin's a good friend, and I wanted to be there for him to support him on his first place overall. Man, the amount of people that showed up to that, it blew my mind. I didn't think that many people could love barbecue so much that they met in Seguin, Texas to have dinner and celebrate each other. It is incredible to me. So, like I said, we talked about CBA. Everything's great, but I wanted to kind of move on to now let's talk about Fred, the cook, the owner of Rio Valley Meats. And one of the things that you're really known for is that brisket. You've hit a first place brisket at the American Royal. You recently hit a first place brisket at San Antonio Rodeo. And these are not small events. For anybody that's listening, if you guys don't know much about it, these are the largest events in the world. And for you to hit first place perfect scores is, I mean, I don't even know how to put it into words. So I wanted you to try and put it into words. What is that feeling like when you hear your name called for the best brisket in the world multiple times?
Wow, it's
You don't
it's hard
even,
to put into words, right?
right? I can
Yeah,
only imagine.
it's so I think we all go into a competition hoping to do well, right? Or else we
Sure,
wouldn't go, right?
of course.
Yeah, we all want to win. We all want to do well. But knowing competition barbecue the way we do, especially at a contest like the American Royal where there's over 500 teams, or San Antonio Rodeo where there's 350 teams, the two biggest cook-offs in the world. You go there hoping to do well, but realizing that the cards are stacked against you
For sure.
because there's so many great teams there. So coming out and hearing, you know, you. So if you guys have never been to an award ceremony, it goes chicken gets called first, ribs gets called, pork gets called, and then brisket's like the final category, right? So going through all these calls and seeing all your friends get all these walks, right? And then you being sitting there and hearing that first place brisket, which is the last call basically of the day before they call grand and reserve.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something else, man. It's pretty darn incredible. And then just being surrounded by a lot of your barbecue family at the American Royal and at San Antonio. My wife was with me in both occasions. Matter of fact, I was looking through my phone trying to find a picture here a couple of days ago, and I saw a picture where she's crying at the American Royal, and we're yelling and hugging people, and it's just exhilarating, right? I don't know how else to describe it, but it's really really a special feeling on those stages to get those calls, man. Especially be surrounded by a bunch of people you admire, and you know that on any given weekend they can beat you or you can beat them, right? And they've become lifelong friends, and it's just really 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 special for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah, and the thing that I always tell my wife or friends and stuff is that your feelings in barbecue can change very quickly. I mean, there's been times when I get no chicken call and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I just bombed this contest. And then you hear 10 through 2 on ribs, and then you just hit a first place rib, and you went from the lowest of lows to now you're like, oh, I'm in this. I'm in this. I just got a
Right?
perfect score rib. And then,
Absolutely.
things can change. It's like if you don't get a call and then out of nowhere you get that first place brisket at the American Royal, that's got to go from maybe you weren't having the best day to, all right, now this is the best day ever, I think.
Man, I'll tell you that the 22-hour drive home is a lot better after a first place
Oh,
visit.
I
I
can
can only
only,
imagine.
yeah, I could only imagine because we plan on going this year. I was stubborn last year. I refused to go because we didn't have a GC. We didn't get the invite, but we
Hmm.
plan on going this year, and I already am not looking forward to the drive. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna stink, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Hopefully we have a good, happy drive home, and not like a man, we just got our butts whipped.
Yeah, because most
Right.
people on the ride home, no matter what competition, you got the wife sitting here and she's looking through the packet.
Yeah,
You're driving and we're talking
Hmm.
about the scores and what the heck was this score and what was that? What was
Oh
our
yeah.
texture? And then you got people calling and then we're all going over it.
yeah,
We got
yeah.
papers
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
folding.
And I
Yeah.
talked to Bill on the phone today for a little bit, and we posted a YouTube video yesterday, and he's like, "Hey man, I watched your video of Seguin," and he's like, "Man, your food looked spot on, dude." And I was like, "Man, honestly, I'm still not over that one because I really felt great about everything that we turned in." And
Yeah.
if anybody that's listening goes and watches the video, man, I really, I mean, I feel like if you
Good money.
cook, I feel like if you cook and you see the food, you can actually tell like if it was good or not. Um,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit here and there you won't know, but man, you can tell like, oh, that's tender, that's moist, all that stuff. And man, I was watching that video back myself, and I'm like, dude, how did we get our butts whipped so bad? But I'm on a mission for next year, and it's no big deal.
No
Man,
big deal.
yeah,
On,
no big deal. Yeah, no big deal.
looking back on Seguin at the banquet, it's funny because we mentioned you see all of these people at competitions and like specifically even me, like I'm always in sweatpants, covered in sauce, like looking a mess, right? And a lot of these other guys are too. And then you go to the banquet,
Everyone's
and
all
it's like
cleaned up.
it's
I'm
like
like,
everybody's a different person, right? So it's really interesting to
Yep.
see all of these people outside of barbecue. So for you personally, outside of barbecue, what's something that you really love to do, or what's your favorite thing to cook that is not barbecue related?
Ooh. Um, let's start with the what do I like to cook that's not barbecue related. Um, man, I'm kind of a foodie, but man, you can't go wrong with tacos, man.
yeah,
Mm.
Just whatever,
yeah,
whatever taco, right?
yeah.
Crunchy and corn tortilla, flour tortilla, whatever, right? So I do a lot of like here at the house. I enjoy a good pork chop.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
Mm.
just on the stove top, right, as on skillet. So just something to eat at home, right, after dinner. And then what do I do outside of barbecue that I enjoy? I'm a big outdoors guy. Enjoy hunting and fishing. Enjoy. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a captain. I'm a fishing guide as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another hat that I wear. So we're out there, you know, taking customers out fishing, and before barbecue fishing um, was my vice, right? And it still is in a lot of ways, but I was fishing 2, 3 times a week before I was doing barbecue. Since I started barbecue, I fish a lot less now, but I'm kind of getting back into fishing again. I never did stop, but I'm getting more into fishing now. But I thoroughly enjoy it. I've enjoyed it since I was a little kid, and uh, other than that, church. I'm a big faith guy. Believe in God. Our family's a Christian family, and me and my wife serve on the worship team at church. I play guitar. She plays guitar. She sings. Yeah, I
Love it.
enjoy music. Yeah, my boys enjoy music as well. One of them's a one of them's a really good singer and great guitar player, and so yeah, I'm not gonna say I grew up around music because I didn't. I probably picked up my first guitar probably when I was 13 or 14 years old, there at church because we needed musicians, right? So,
Sure.
hey, it's Fred, put him on a guitar, and I kind of picked it up and started learning and enjoyed it and loved it and liked it, and here we are. I'm 41 years old now and still playing guitar at our church, and we thoroughly enjoy it, and And I love that I can do it with my family as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about you, even from a distance when I didn't know you too well, is how open you are with your faith. And that's something that recently I've been trying to be a lot more open about my faith. And my wife and we try and read the Bible a lot more, and we're trying to be really into it, especially because in life we want specific things, right? We want to win
absolutely.
barbecue competitions. We want to do YouTube videos full time. And for the longest time, I felt like I was kind of praying for those things without actually giving myself to Him, right? And understanding
Hmm.
that this is not always just, hey, I'm going to pray and I'm going to get it. It's more one of
Right.
those things where, hey, I submit myself to Him, I trust in Him, and things will happen as they may. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I do really, really admire that about you, especially being such a large figure in barbecue. You're extremely open with your
Hmm.
faith, and I do appreciate that. So
And
kudos to you for that.
I think it's thank you, man. I think as somebody who's a believer, I think well, at least I feel that my place isn't to go in and try to preach to you all the time. I think just by living our lives a godly way,
Mm-hmm.
people see that, right?
For sure.
I think that speaks more than me trying to go and put somebody on the cross because they're doing something wrong or doing whatever, right?
Yeah,
Right.
So I think we just live our lives, man, and God will do the rest.
no
For
doubt.
sure.
No doubt. I love it, man. So I also wanted to talk about Rio Valley Meats. You see it right there on your hat. That is your barbecue team name, but it's also a meat market that you own. So you have a meat market in Harlingen, Texas that you run. And I've actually never been there. I've wanted to go one time. We had planned to go down to the valley. I was going to stop by. But
Hmm.
I noticed that you also serve food. I'm sure now, are you cooking a lot of brisket for customers? Are people coming in saying, man, Fred, I got to try that brisket, man?
Yeah, yeah, man. So we've always been a full service butcher shop, and so we, you know, any cut that you need or want, we can get. Um, but we've never really done as much cooking as we're doing now,
Mm-hmm.
and that really just started, I guess, pretty much after the American Royal win. Is when we got that first place brisket at the Royal. The news stations down here ran some stories on us, interviewed us and did a segment on us. And, best brisket in the world is what they titled it. So whenever you have a title like that, right, people are going to come out. So
Yeah.
they came out thinking we were a restaurant. They would come out to the shop thinking we were a restaurant, and we've never been a restaurant. We always sold like breakfast and lunch, but it was mainly to go. We don't have a big shop. We don't have a huge sitting area or anything like that. But since the American Royal, people were starting to go in there asking for brisket, and I was like, we really don't do brisket. We would do briskets. It was a Friday thing only, and it was just basically sandwiches and like loaded baked potatoes, right, with brisket in them and cheese and sour cream and stuff like that. But so once we started getting all these customers in, my wife is like, "Man, Fred, I think you need to start cooking more briskets." So, so I said, man, I think so too. I mean, it was just unreal the amount of people that were coming into the shop just looking for brisket. So I started cooking briskets, and I said, well, let me practice with two briskets because what we do at the shop and what competition is totally two different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to put out a great product that people were going to enjoy and want to come back and eat again, right? So I said, let me mess around and see what I can come up with here quickly. And so we started doing briskets, started cooking two briskets, three briskets, and then so man, now we have a full lunch menu. We're doing ribs, brisket, chicken every day,
Awesome.
or Wednesday through Friday mainly, right? But during like Mondays and Tuesdays we have fajitas, or we always have something. But yeah, so now we're cooking a lot more, and brisket is still the main thing that people want. So man, it's just a good eating brisket. It's just something that you can throw in a sandwich, or you can eat on a plate with some potato salad and rice or whatever you want, right? Whatever sides you want.
For sure.
But yeah, man, we've got a couple tables out there now where people can sit down and enjoy their lunch there with us, or go through the drive-through and pick up a plate and go. So yeah.
Sweet. And so, like you said, you guys are a full service butcher shop, so people can go in and get their chicken for the weekend, fajitas, a lot of meats like that for the barbecue on Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we got anything chicken, ribs, pork, steaks, you name it, we got it.
And you guys get really good pork for competition cooks too, which I know sometimes you
Yep.
get overloaded with those orders. I've reached out to you. I reached out to you late one time because I was having trouble, and you're like, "Dude, I'll try," but I don't know 100%. I got like so many orders, but I have gotten pork from you
Mm,
before, and you get really great competition pork. So if you
yeah,
guys are
yes, sir.
ever in the Harlingen area, go check out Rio Valley Meats. Obviously, we want to go down there and taste that brisket too. So hopefully we can make our way down
Yes,
there soon.
sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Whenever
sweet,
y'all are down, hit me up
for
for
sure.
sure.
So besides the butcher shop, you also have two products. We kind of mentioned them earlier. So you have a line of seasonings that you currently carry. Besides at your shop, where can people find those seasonings?
Um, Easiest place to get them is any, well, not any, but most barbecue stores. I know Dustin in Hempstead has them at the barbecue store in Hempstead. Brian Crawford at the Lone Star Barbecue Shop in San Antonio has them.
So
Um, if you're outside of the state, Kansas City Barbecue Store, Iowa Barbecue, mainly all
yeah,
the bigger barbecue stores or the competition barbecue stores are going to have it. A lot of the True Value stores have them.
okay.
Um, Murdoch's. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a Murdoch's.
I don't know what that
Um,
is, but
yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like a fancy. Maybe not. I was gonna say a fancy Tractor Supply, but you know Tractor Supply has
Mm-hmm.
like they
yeah,
have all the outdoor wear and all the Western stuff and stuff like that. So Murdoch's is actually a really big store, but they're all over the nation. So they started carrying our product online. You can get it at ows.com or barbecuespot.com. Big Papa Smokers has it.
sure.
Or you can get it from me directly.
Yeah,
You can get it through our shop at riovalleybbq.com. You can order it through there, and we'll ship it out to you.
awesome.
But yeah, there's a lot of different places that have it.
Yeah, so I recently actually had them, and one of the things I can tell you is I think it's amazing what you did with these rubs because you made them to work together. And I didn't know that
Hmm.
until you told me. You said, "Hey, put both of them on your hand at the same exact time and then taste it."
Hmm.
And when you do that,
Absolutely.
it really does. It's weird because the names of your seasonings are Blanco and Perfecto, right?
Yes, sir.
And individually, they're great. The thing I like about, I don't know what it is about Perfecto, but there's like something there that I haven't really tasted in another rub. I'm sure you know what it is, but
Yeah,
when
I
I
know
tasted it,
exactly.
I'm like, man, what is that? But it's delicious, and we used it
Hmm.
on fajitas and some other stuff here at the house, and man, the flavor is outrageous. So anybody that's curious, this is not coming from Fred. This is coming from me, and we have our own line of seasonings as well. So you know,
Hmm.
get both of our seasonings because his are very very
Absolutely.
good. But
They're both great.
man, the way that you made them to work together actually kind of blew my mind because I don't think anybody else has done that to my knowledge. And it really does
Hmm.
bring a completely separate flavor from them individually. When you pop them together, some magic happens, dude. I don't know what it is.
Abs- Yeah, absolutely. I think they're great on their own. Blanco is more of a savory, salty rub, right? And then the Perfecto is got a little bit of savory in it, but it's also got that sweet in it also. But so on their own they're great, but yeah, mix them together and it's magic. I think they're once they're mixed, it's even better than having them on their own.
No doubt. And I can attest to that because at Smoking on the Rio, I was actually kind of tripping out. I was like, that was weird how
Yeah.
they're together. They don't, I mean, they taste like what they taste like, right? But it's just something happens. It's magic.
I think most people don't realize when it comes to these seasonings, even ours, I mean, we layer a lot of our
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said, it almost turns it into a completely new product, layering your things.
Correct.
So, I
Correct.
mean, yeah, try them together. And I'm sure it's going to be something completely new to you.
Yeah.
One thing we always want to ask is, what is one thing you cannot go to a barbecue competition without?
And Thermopin's very, very common.
Oh, not a Thermopin.
Yeah,
don't-
Thermopin's common. So if you have something a little bit more, boom,
Oh, let's see.
For me, it's my Bible. I don't go without my Bible
Yeah.
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, it's funny you say that, but uh, I do a lot of traveling sometimes, by myself, and I'm fixing to head to Weatherford here in a little bit or tomorrow, but I'll be driving by myself, and my mom usually calls me, "Mijo, where you at? How you doing?"
Yeah.
Uh, and then she asked me, "Are you by yourself?" I said, "Mom, you know better than that. I'm never by myself." I said I got God with me riding shotgun here, so we're
Yep.
good.
That's an
But he's
amazing
he's
answer.
she's usually yeah, she's usually asking like, is Yadi, my wife, with me, or the kids, or any of them, my friends, with me. But I always tell her, man, I'm good. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But one thing, man, it's hard to say. One thing that you can't do without at a contest. Um, at a competition, I think you 100%. To me, it's my watch, my wristwatch.
Mm.
Yeah.
I need to
That's a good one.
know. I need to know what time it is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't want everything we do in competition barbecue revolves around a clock or a watch or some sort. Just because we have to have everything turned in on time, or else we can't win, right? We
Yeah.
get DQ'd.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say my watch or a clock would probably be the number one
That
thing that I have to have.
That's funny because we went to one competition without our watches and we're just like
Yeah.
lost because
It
we have a
felt
we have a
You're
big
lost,
clock.
absolutely.
Yeah, we have a big clock, but it always like the time resets
the
or
batteries run out,
die.
and I'm like, no.
And then we're like, "What time is
Well,
it?" And we're trying to find our phones and see what time it is.
yeah, and if it's so easy just to look at your wrist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Just
if you have your phone close by, but sometimes just panic sets in. Oh, what time is it? And you're
yeah.
fumbling looking for your phone, you can't find it. When it's on your wrist, it's right there. It's super easy. Just
Yeah.
even if it's a minute or two off, you can at least get an idea of where
Yeah.
you're at.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, also, my hands are disgusting, so I don't want to pick up my phone. So I'm like,
Yeah,
just
that
flicking
is
my
true.
wrist over is way, way, way easier. But no, that's a good answer because
Yeah.
without my Apple Watch, because I set also
Mhm.
5,000 alarms as well.
Alarms.
So
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
them on my wrist. If I'm in the middle of something, I can look. Oh, okay. Hey, it's time for me to spin my grate on my pork or whatever. So the watch is a great, great
Absolutely.
answer. So
Yes,
I
sir.
did want to backtrack just for a second. Back to your products. You got Blanco.
Hmm.
You got Perfecto.
Yep.
Anything else coming? Anything else that we can be looking forward to that you can talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a sauce actually that is done.
Nice.
We're just waiting on labels, and for it to be released. So that hopefully is coming pretty soon. That's been a long time coming, and seems like these product launches take forever, right? But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so yeah, we've got that coming, and I've got a. It's funny we were talking about brisket, but I've got a brisket rub that I'm currently working on. I don't have a date on it yet, but
Sure.
it's just something I'm messing around with right now that'll probably eventually turn into a product we put out.
Sweet. Yeah, I think for sauce, I think that sauce is so important in competition barbecue these days. I'm really interested to see what you put out because a lot of people are using a lot of the same stuff. Blues Hog,
Yep.
Apple Habanero,
Mhm.
Slaps, Craig's, a lot of the same stuff over and over and over. So I would be really interested to check out that sauce and hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on it pretty quick. And the last thing that we wanted to do was I put out a post that you were going to be on the podcast and we had some people ask some questions for you. And I'm sure you can kind of imagine what a lot of the questions revolved around, but we are going to go ahead and ask a few of them anyway. So I have it here. The first question, and this one is hilarious. It actually got a bunch of reactions too. From Daniel Rodriguez, what injection, seasoning, pit temp, wrap, internal temp, and what sauce on your brisket? And like I said, that has 10 reactions here. I think people really, really liked that question. So I know you're obviously not going to answer that question fully, but I did think it was funny enough to bring up real quick.
Just put a Blanco Perfecto and mayonnaise sauce on it, and a little bit of love, and you'll be good.
Yeah, and get all of the meats from Rio Valley Meats as well, right?
There you go.
And
There
then
you
if you once you win a GC, book a fishing guide trip so you can catch some dinner
Yeah.
for throughout the week.
We'll go celebrate on the water.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the questions that I did really like and I wanted to ask was Jason. Man, I don't even know how to say that last name. I'm sorry, Jason. So Jason asked, does he believe a simple approach to competition barbecue still wins championships, or do people oversimplify it and believe you need to do a ton of extra things to your food to win over the judges?
That's a good question. I think middle of the road barbecue is still winning.
Mm-hmm.
And what I guess let me clarify what I mean by middle of the road barbecue is, to me that means you want to cook barbecue to where it offends the least amount of people as possible.
Sure.
You don't want to be too much of anything. If you have too sweet, too much heat, too much of anything,
Someone's not going to like it.
to one person it might be great. They're gonna love it if they love sweet, right? But somebody who doesn't like sweet, it'll be too much. Yeah. So to you have to kind of cook barbecue where it offends the least amount of palates as possible, to where people are just gonna say, "That was good." You know, they're not gonna say, "Oh, this is great. This is the best thing I've ever had," because somebody's gonna say it's the best thing I've ever had, and the person sitting across from them is gonna say, "Man, this is the worst thing I've ever had," because it's too much of something.
Sure.
There's too many. I get a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, man, you mind trying my brisket, or you mind trying my chicken, or you mind trying my ribs?" And I said, usually I tell them, "Man, don't feel bad when I tell you it's just good. If it's good, or whatever I tell you, I'm gonna give you my honest feedback, right?" Um, and usually, if I tell you, "Man, there's nothing wrong with it," that's a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
because that means there was no high points or low points, right? There was not too much of anything going on there. You just want to have something that's well cooked. To me, texture I think is probably even more important than taste, personally. So if you nail your texture and your taste is not offending to anybody, you'll be just fine. I mean, uh, as bad as this is going to sound, barbecue doesn't always get scored correctly. The best barbecue doesn't always win at a contest,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter what sanctioning body you're at. And I know I've cooked enough barbecue to know when my barbecue's good and my barbecue's bad, or when it's not perfect, right? And I've won a lot of contests with what I would think is bad barbecue, and I've lost a lot of contests thinking it's the best stuff I've ever cooked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a moving target, and there's always different judges in the judging room. So to me, it's try to offend as least amount of judges as possible, and middle of the barbecue. I think all day still wins.
So that's a really good answer. I love that. I love that answer because it's something that took me a while to learn myself. I wanted the most banging ribs with the most flavor on them. Sweet,
Yeah.
whatever. And man, sometimes we would get a first place rib. The next contest we'd get a 90th place rib, and I never really understood what was going on until I figured out that, man, how is this person judging me a 10 on taste and this one's judging me a 7?
Yeah.
It's because it's
Well, you
too
have the wow
one-sided.
factor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the wow factor. So to one judge, it's wow, this is great, and to the other one's like, wow, really, this guy's doing competition barbecue.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. 100%. Yeah,
so
it's something that all of us need to learn at some point, and I think that's great advice. So another hot topic that people are asking a lot of, I'll only ask it once, is when is the next barbecue class?
yeah. So actually, me and Bill have been talking about putting on a barbecue class, which I think finally kind of narrowed down our date. So we're looking at the middle to the end of April right now. We haven't put it out there just because we are still pending a venue where to have it, but we're trying to have it somewhere in the San Antonio, Texas area. So we'll be having a class. I think Bill had put out a little feeler, just kind of a joke, like, yeah, Fred will be cooking chicken and I'll be cooking brisket type
Yeah,
of
what
deal.
I saw that and I was
People
like,
went
hey,
wild.
I was like, yeah, that post went, it
Yeah,
went wild. It was
yeah,
hilarious though because
yeah.
I think
That was
everybody,
kind of the
yeah, I think everybody knew it was a joke, so they just kind of went with it. But man, that's I'm a huge believer in taking a barbecue class. I know the manliest of men doesn't need a barbecue class, but
Mhm.
it really changed for us when we took Bill's class online because it had nothing to do with his recipes and it had everything to do with techniques. The little
Mhm.
things that I saw him do, I was like, wow, I never would have thought to do that. Just the smallest
Right.
things, like, well, I won't talk about. I was about to say one of the things that he does, but that's not fair to Bill. Go buy his class, or
Right.
whenever this class is, it has solid
Come to
dates.
ours.
Sign up for it.
Mhm.
I know, without a doubt, 100%. Hopefully the day works for me. I'll be there. I mean, I plan on being there, and this is coming from somebody who, thankfully, I've won multiple times, but I still want to learn. It's not. There's always more to learn, and you can always pick up those little
Absolutely.
things from people, man.
100%. I mean, I've been doing this now for 12 years. I've been competing in barbecue, right? And man, I've ran harder than most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And man, I still want to learn more. I still want to go out there and take classes. Um, so I think it's like anything else in any other profession, whether you're man, I don't care what you are, an electrician, a plumber, any trade or any profession, there's always continued education, right? There's
100%.
always they're always sending you for more training and more learning and more wisdom. And so I think that goes for barbecue as well. You want to get better at the craft, you got to go learn from somebody who's doing well, or who's, you can pick up a nugget or two from any class you go to.
Sure.
Recipes are recipes, right? You can change those all day long, but a lot of the times it's like you said, it's the little things, it's the techniques, it's how to finish there. You might have a great brisket and then you finish dusted at the end with the wrong stuff and you ruin that brisket. Or you can have a horrible brisket and you can make it great right there on the cutting board before you turn it in. So it's all in the little details, man. I think everybody out there nowadays is cooking really, really good barbecue. And I think what separates the top three from the rest of the crowd is how they're finishing stuff on that cutting board and
Uh,
before they put it in the box, the things they do to make it great. So, man, go out there and take classes, man. It doesn't have to be ours, but go out there and learn and continue your education in barbecue for sure.
well, one of the things I can tell you, if you do go take this class that Fred and Bill are going to give, I think you're going to see two opposite sides of barbecue because I have been around Bill enough to know that he is like you know what I mean? Like he's not everywhere, but you know what I mean? Like you know how Bill is. He's like, "Oh
Mm.
man, give me
Oh
this, give
yeah.
me boom boom boom." And I went into your trailer, man, everything is perfectly lined up. You had
Yeah.
everything 100% ready to rock and roll, and I think
Hmm.
both of them work obviously. But I think you're going to see
Yeah.
two different sides to barbecue that's going to be really, really fun to see. And again, if you guys end up going
Yeah.
to that, you'll see me as well because I plan on being there. And
Yeah. Well, me and Bill did a class, I guess about 2 years ago now, and after that class, I told Bill, man, I'm sorry, bro. I don't think I could ever cook with you, man.
yeah,
He had more dirty dishes than I don't know what, dude. Like he had mess all over the house. I was like, ew, like this is driving me nuts. But I try to keep my area clean. I don't always, right? But I do try to keep everything in order, and you know everything, like when I'm cutting or when I'm prepping, like everything's at a hand's reach, right? That's
hmm
how I function because I know where everything's at. I know where my knives are at, my cutting board, my foil paper, my seasoning sauces. I know everything's at, like I can reach right or left and it's right there. and Bill just had stuff scattered everywhere. I was like, man, sorry, bro, we can't ever cook together on a team, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But his approach works, my approach works, and there's no right or wrong way of doing things. It's just whatever works for you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, there was a lot of questions, but all of them pretty much centered around those, right? When's the next class? What's your brisket recipe? So we won't re-ask the same question over and over and over. So you said you're going to Weatherford this weekend. Good luck to you. Anybody that's listening, there's 50,000 reasons to go over there. It's going to be a great event put on by CBA, and we won't be there. We're going to be heading out of town, but we'll be watching awards, and hopefully we hear your song played a couple of times out there.
Absolutely, man. That'd be great.
So before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs? You want to thank any sponsors, shout out any friends or anything like that?
Man, there's been a lot of people who have helped me along the way, right? So right now, currently, Midland Meat Company is one of our big supporters. Some of the best briskets out there that you're gonna find. Those first place briskets at the Royal and the San Antonio were Midland Meat Company briskets. And just a really good product. And not only that, John Scarborough, the owner of Midland Meat Company, is just great people, man. That whole family and that whole team there at Midland Meat Company, they're just awesome, man. So big shout out to them. Big Papa Smokers is a great sponsor of ours as well. We've got Texas Original Charcoal. And I should write a list down because I always forget somebody.
Yeah, it happens.
Uh, Chairman's Reserve, which is Tyson Products. Yeah, Tyson's been a supporter of us for years now as well. Um, so that pork that you were talking about earlier, that's all it's a West Creek product, which is actually a Tyson product. But that's a really good pork there. And of course my family, man, my wife and my kids and my mom and my whole support system. Couldn't do it without them. My Sabrina said it earlier. The wives are in the car looking at the scores on the way home,
Oh yeah,
and that's
Yep.
my wife. And she's like, "Oh, man, this judge right here,"
Yep.
and when I'm down, she'll pick me up, and or when my head's getting too big, she'll bring me back to the ground too, right?
yeah.
So just gotta love our wives for everything that they do for us and our families for sure. So big shout out to them, and man, thank you guys for having me on here as well, man. Really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about our story with your audience, man, and hopefully, man, we get to do some more of this stuff in the future with you guys as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said earlier, man, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us. I love putting the spotlight on different people in barbecue because that's one of the things that I feel like Sabrina and I are absolutely blessed that we've been given this weird little platform. I have no idea how it's happened. There's a lot of people in the world who know who you are, and if there's somebody that may not know much about you, we hopefully allowed them to learn just a little bit more. We wanted to bring light to CBA, and like I said earlier, we love CBA, we love IBCA, we love KCBS, we love them all. Hopefully, we could talk to everybody, but the things that CBA is doing in Texas is absolutely changing the game, and it is making barbecue fun again. And it's making me want to spend money every single weekend to travel this beautiful state that we live in. So kudos to you
Yep.
and the team
Yep.
for bringing this sanctioning body to Texas. And I know that things are just going to be better and better and better moving forward. But, man, if that's all that you got, we're good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, just go out there and barbecue, guys. It doesn't matter who you're competing with. Go out there and support these organizations that are out there putting on cook-offs, right? So most of these organizations are nonprofits or they're a charity or of some sort to try to raise funds for their organization, right? And they do it through cook-offs, and if we didn't have promoters doing that, we couldn't do the things that we love to do, right?
Sure.
So go out there and support them. If it's a CBA, an IBCA, a KCBS, just it don't matter. Go out there and support them. Of course, we'd love to have you guys at a CBA event. We'd love to have you guys, everybody out there. But if there's none close to you or you can't get to one, go to any contest, right? And enjoy it and have fun. Make memories with the family and friends, man.
For
You'll
sure.
love the people out there. Barbecue people are for the most part, are some of the, you said it earlier. Some of my best friends right now have come through barbecue, right? So go out there and enjoy it, man.
Absolutely. Fred Robles, ladies and gentlemen, owner of Rio Valley Meats, pitmaster, follower of Christ, husband, all that great stuff. Thank you again for being on the show. We really appreciate you and hope you have a
Thank you
great
so
week.
much. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Later, man. Thank you. Thank you again, Fred Robles, for being on the podcast. What a great dude. Seriously, great dude. I really look up to that guy and hope that one of these days we have that same stature that he does. Just his presence when he talks about barbecue, the way he has that knowledge, it's amazing. So again, Fred, thank you for being on the podcast. I thought that was a really great interview.
Yeah, thanks to Fred for that interview because, I mean, it really shed some light on the things that you don't see that happen during, these CBA competitions. I thought it was very intriguing. I think it's just really cool to see what they have created. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I was just shocked to finally learn that it's only been around for 3 years.
Yeah. No, I mean, a very, very young sanctioning body, one that's thriving right now and doing very good. Another sanctioning body that's doing very good, and we've talked about it before, is IBCA. So I've reached out to Mr. Dennis Butterworth, and he is the president of IBCA. We're hoping to get him on as well to shine some light on IBCA, another competition sanctioning body that we absolutely love and adore and puts out great, great events. So this weekend, we're going to be heading to Hernando, Mississippi. I'll be judging a chili cook-off at Malcolm's shop. Malcolm Reed, How to Barbecue Right. We're going to be hanging out at the shop. I hopefully have some stuff planned with Mark Williams, Swine Life BBQ, and hopefully it's an amazing weekend and we get some great footage, great content for you guys, and we can make a really, really cool video that's going to come out on Tuesday. It's going to be hard, but we're going to try and make something happen because we don't like missing videos, but we got a lot going on right now. One more time, thank you so much to Fred for being on the podcast. Thank you to every single one of you that's watching, listening, and continues to engage with all the videos that we put out. You're the reason we're growing. We're getting closer and closer and closer to 50,000 subscribers. Let me look right now. We have 36,155. So we're growing at a great rate. Thank you guys. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Help us get to 50,000 subscribers, and then it's on to 100. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about today?
No, I mean, we're just ready to go see what's going on in Mississippi and try and come back with some really fun stories for you guys on the next podcast.
For sure. Thank you for everybody that's watching and listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.